This is the one spell. What happened is I tried to get, I think, Death Frenzy off, threw 6 dice at it, didn't get Irresistible Force, so it got dispelled. I had 1 dice left, and I threw it, and that was the 6, and he's a level 4, so I got the 10 I needed to cast Scorch, and unfortunately there wasn't really any good targets, so it ended up over here on this Lonely Runesmith. I failed to wound though, so. And then you can see there's the results of the combat with the cannons. There's that one engineer. War machines are for dwarves. They're actually pretty tough to kill. You need like to send a real unit at them, or else your usual war machine hunters tend not to be enough. And then over here you can see that the Vermin Lord and the Clan Rats destroyed the Thunders. There wasn't that much of a surprise. And the Vermin Lord pursues on into the Grudge Thrower, and he's going to fight and kill that. And over you can see that the Plague Sensor Bearers managed to kill quite a few dwarves. They take 2 casualties, and there's a standard in there. But they're steadfast, so I think they hang out for one more round. And then over here, there's just more whittling down. The fight continues. And again, a giant overview of where everything at. Oh, as you can see, the Longbeards reformed to finish off those Sensor Bearers. And dwarf turn. There was no dwarf shooting, and no dwarf movement. This I think is dwarf turn 3. And the miners have still failed to show up, so that was fortunate. And they reform after combat to look like that. And right here you can see the Vermin Lord kills all 3 of those 4 crew for the Grudge Thrower, so he's still fighting that. And dwarf crews are stubborn, so that one guy holds out against the Vermin Lord. And you can see the good news here is the giant rats finally decided to do a number on the organ gun and managed to kill it in one turn. So they go from doing no wounds for like 3-4 rounds of combat and do 3 rounds suddenly for it seems no apparent reason. So right here, this is again just a close up, shows you what's going on. Oh, the storm vermin actually finish off the cannon and then overrun and are fighting that organ gun now, and they'll resolve that on my turn. And you can see this picture, more whittling down. They're down to, I think there's just a champion or maybe 1 or 2 guys left in that unit of hammerers. And so going on to the Skaven next turn. Skaven turn 4. My Sensor Bearers charge on in to the flank of that pretty much group of characters at this point, and they're going to try and help wipe them out. And there's the battlefield larger view. You can see my unit of Clan Rats turn that way. They're waiting for the miners to show up. And the giant rats kind of move over. They're going to wait and see. Maybe take out those Longbeard Rangers if they get the opportunity. And over here, after winning the combat, the Storm Vermin reform, and the Vermin Lord just hangs out after killing off the Grudge Thrower. And my shooting, this is a little bit out of sequence, but shooting whittles those guys down with the rattling guns. Actually fire off, I think something like 12 shots. And rattling guns actually, they turned out to be a little bit better than I thought they would be. I thought they were actually terrible because they're ballistic skill shooting now. You have to roll to hit and to wound. Before, when you just rolled to wound, they were awesome, but now they're really toned down. What I'm finding is it's best just to take them, risk it, and roll 3 dice every time, or 4. Just go balls out with them. Anyway, right here we've got the result. Oh, going on dwarf turn 4. So dwarf turn 4, what we got here is they finally win combat, or maybe it was on my turn. Either way, those clan rats decided to finally flee, and That was a little unfortunate. Okay, so now dwarf turn 4. And what we have here is, you see the miners decide to finally show up, which was good. And I was thinking this was the ideal situation because now I've got most of my army to kind of deal with these. I've got this whole huge unit here that's pretty much untouched, and then I've got uh, oh, and then if you can see there, the panicking clan rats fled through the giant rats, and what you see there is the giant rats are actually fleeing as well because they got panicked. So, but anyway, I still have this unit of clan rats here to take on these miners, and so there's that. And then he declares a charge with those longbeards at the fleeing clan rats, and they flee again. And then, I think that's what caused the giant rats to flee because this unit fled through them after that charge, and so they fled. For some reason, the weapons teams decided that they were going to not flee. And really, the giant rats shouldn't have fled either. They were within range of my BSB, or at least the general. And so they were actually really good leadership, but I just rolled really poorly, and so they fled. And right here, they turn all those characters do a number and kill off the sensor bearers, and I think they run them down. But you'll see then in that picture that the unit is dead. So going on to my turn 5, I decided to charge the Vermin Lord to try and get rid of some of this anti-magic. So he charges in against this lonely runesmith, and my Storm Vermin charge in against what is a bunch of characters at this point. And the clan rats, I charge in against the miners to try and just tie them up, hold them, kill them. And that right there, I believe, is my failed rally roll. So my giant and those guys, the clan rats still, they don't rally, but they don't flee off the board. And shooting, I get this unit down to a single champion. And right here, you'll see 2 6s. Those are the saves from the runesmith. So he lives through the Vermin Lord's attacks. And manages to, in return, manages to hit twice. God, I think he needed 4s, but he manages to hit twice. And then manages 1 wound. And the 5-up ward from the Vermin Lord does not happen. And so that runesmith managed to fell a demon. So that was pretty much complete disaster in my mind. As it goes worse, I really underestimated the strength of the miners. They just killed a lot of clan rats, and my clan rats ran away from them. And over here, I get locked into a challenge with his Dwarf Lord. I'm not sure if that was the best solution. My general has a 4-up ward, and it's turn 5, so I figure, okay, well, we'll just run it out. Maybe I'll get a wound through on his on the general, or I'll just lock him in. But what I didn't want him doing, I didn't want him killing the BSB, and I didn't want his Dwarf Lord would have just gone through characters one at a time to get to my guy. Maybe I should have gone that route and let the guys attack the unit, but these characters are all just rock tough. I think both of them, the Dwarf BSB has a 1-up rerollable, and then there's a Rune Lord in there, and he's got, I think, a 2-up save and a 5-up ward, and then the Dwarf Lord has a 1-up rerollable with a 4-up ward. So I'm just trying to kill these dwarves, and nothing, just hacking and nothing. And they're just holding on I think I keep winning combat, but they just keep holding on their leadership 8, and that's kind of the story here. The miners end up charging, I think, or this was the overrun. Anyway, they ran into this weapon team, and they're going to kill it. And as you can see there, they finally, going on to the dwarf turn 5, he charges in a champion, and that's the result of this combat is that champion from the Longbeards joins in. I managed to kill him, and then I finally lose one of my chieftains to the Rune Lord. and fighting just continues. I've got one wound now on my general and one wound on the BSB, and I'm doing nothing to these dwarves. It's just ridiculous to try and hurt them. Anyway, and then the miners win, and they overrun into this next. They follow on through into into yet another weapon team, and there's the fleeing rats who still continue to flee. Going on, I believe it's Skaven turn 6. The clan rats, that group rallies, and fighting over here continues on, and I think absolutely nothing happened to anybody. Anyway, but fighting continues on there, and the dwarves wipe out that other weapon team, and again overrun into the clan rats who were waiting for them. I guess they didn't learn their lesson the first time. And right here, you'll see that one runesmith. So this is dwarf turn, the dwarf final turn. That runesmith charges in an attempt, I think, to try and finish off this unit, to try and finally break them. And right here, combat continues here. And they win combat, and they run that unit down. So again, another destroyed. I think I have the storm vermin left at this point. And yeah, that one rune smith kills to finally win the combat, and he finally managed to kill my warlord. So the warlord died. They killed the BSB at the same time. So now there's no warlord, no BSB, and they lose combat. They run, but they manage to get away. So end of the battle, I'm left with storm vermin and a unit of clan rats. So dwarves win, and oddly enough, adding up the points, even though it looked completely terrible, dwarves still had a little over 1,000 points, and I actually, because of those two units surviving, I still had close to 600. So there's that, and it really came down to that final combat on that final turn with the death of the warlord and the Skaven BSB. If I had kept both those two alive, it would have actually run close to a tie. It would have been, I would have had an additional 300 points, something like that. But as it was, I think, yeah. So just a solid win for the dwarves. It actually wasn't even up to the massacre scale. So they ended up winning about 600 points once you add in all the captured standards in the BSB. So not necessarily a close one, except for it was close because if I had held out that last turn with that unit, made a couple saves, rolls had gone a little bit differently, then it would have ended in a tie, or maybe just a slight dwarf victory. But that, and really the tipping point was losing the Vermin Lord to that runesmith. I think maybe I shouldn't have charged him in there. If this had been a more competitive environment, there's no way I would have just had that Vermin Lord just hiding, because he's 500 points on one wound. He would have been, running around. He would have been running back towards, the far corner of the battlefield. So, but just for fun, I figured, why not get some easy points off of a runesmith was my thought, and that backfired. But the Vermin Lord, he seems to be viable. I think maybe the fear about cannons sniping and just sniping in general might be a little bit overrated. And if you want to run some of these big nasties, feel free. It's probably not the most competitive choice because, like you saw, there's things where if they die, then suddenly you're like, oh crap, But as it goes, this list actually worked reasonably well. I was surprised by a lot of things in it. I think I kind of missed the slaves. I think if I play around with the points a little bit and do some things differently, I could probably get 2 big blocks of slaves and maybe just have 1 unit of clan rats in there, and that might actually work better for this list as the way it ran, because I think I could have actually used the additional numbers. But and there we go. That was a report, and hope you enjoyed it.